It started on a night when the rain wouldn't stop. Not the kind of rain that comes and goes, but the steady kind. The kind that fills the silence and makes everything else feel distant. I remember lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the soft tapping against the window beside me. It was late, well past midnight, but sleep just wouldn't come. I turned to my side and looked at the clock. 2:17 a.m. For some reason, that bothered me more than it should have. It felt like I had been awake for hours, just listening, waiting for something I couldn't explain. My room was dark, except for the faint glow from the streetlight outside. The curtains were slightly open, just enough for a dim orange light to stretch across the floor and stop right at the edge of my bed. That's when I heard it, a soft sound, not from inside the room, but from outside. At first, I thought it was just the rain shifting. Maybe the wind brushing against the trees or water dripping from the roof. I tried to ignore it, pulling the blanket a little closer, closing my eyes again. But then it happened second time. A faint tap. Not random, not like rain, deliberate. I opened my eyes slowly, my body suddenly more awake than before. The sound came from the window. I could feel it even before I fully turned my head. Tap. I swallowed, my throat dry. There was something about it that didn't feel right. The rhythm wasn't natural. It wasn't the chaotic pattern of raindrops. It was spaced out, almost like someone was trying not to be noticed. I stayed still for a moment, staring at the ceiling again, as if pretending I hadn't heard it would somehow make it stop. But deep down, I already knew. Whatever made that sound was still there, right outside my window. I told myself not to look. It sounds simple now, but in that moment, it felt like a real decision. Like something in me understood that once I turned my head, there would be no going back to just lying there in the dark. The rain kept falling, steady and soft, but now it felt different, heavier, like it was covering something else, something quieter. Tap. There it was again, closer this time, or maybe I was just more aware of it. My eyes shifted toward the window, but I didn't move my head. I could see the edge of it from where I was lying, the faint outline of the glass reflecting the dim street light outside. Nothing moved, nothing that I could see, at least. I let out a slow breath, trying to calm myself down. It didn't make sense. I lived on the second floor. There was no balcony, no ledge, nothing anyone could stand on. The only thing outside my window was open air and the narrow strip of grass far below. So what was tapping? I sat up slightly, the bed creaking under my weight. The sound seemed louder now, even though it hadn't changed. My heart was beating faster, but not in panic, more like anticipation, like I was waiting for confirmation. Tap. This time, I couldn't ignore it. I turned my head, slowly. The window was right there beside me, the glass dark except for the faint reflection of my own room. The curtain moved slightly with the breeze, just enough to reveal more of the outside. At first, I didn't see anything. Just rain, endless rain, falling through the orange glow of the streetlight. I leaned a little closer, squinting, trying to focus past the reflection. And that's when I realized something. The tapping had stopped. Silence felt worse than the sound. I stayed there, sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at the window, waiting for it to happen again. But it didn't. The rain kept falling, steady as before, but whatever had been tapping was gone. Or at least, that's what I wanted to believe. I leaned closer to the glass, trying to see past my own reflection. The street below was empty. No cars, no people, nothing but the wet pavement shining under the light. For a moment, I almost laughed at myself. Maybe it really was just the rain. Maybe my mind had taken a normal sound and turned it into something else. It wouldn't be the first time. Late nights have a way of doing that, stretching small things into something bigger than they are. I exhaled slowly, feeling some of the tension leave my body. Then I noticed it, a shape, not outside, but in the reflection. I froze. At first I thought it was just something in my room, a shadow maybe, or a trick of the light. But the more I looked, the more it felt wrong, because it wasn't where it should be. In the reflection of the window, I could see my bed behind me, the wall, the door slightly open, and something else. Something standing near the corner of the room. I didn't move, didn't breathe. It wasn't clear, just a darker shape against the darkness. Tall, still, watching. My heart started pounding loud enough that I could hear it in my ears. I wanted to turn around. Every instinct in my body told me to look, to confirm what I was seeing, but something held me in place because deep down, I already knew if I turned around, there might be nothing there. And somehow, that felt worse. Because if nothing was behind me, then whatever I was seeing in the reflection wasn't part of my room at all. It meant the window wasn't just reflecting, it was showing something else. I kept staring, my eyes locked on that shape in the glass. My body felt heavy, like moving even a little would break whatever fragile distance still existed between me and it. The rain grew louder, filling the silence, but the tapping didn't come again. Not yet. Slowly, carefully, I reached for my phone on the bed without looking away. My fingers brushed against it, cold and unsteady, and I grabbed it tightly. For a second, I hesitated. Then I turned the screen on. The dim light filled part of the room behind me. The bed, the wall, the door, nothing there. I swallowed. Very slowly, I began to turn my head. Every instinct told me not to do it, but I had to know. I turned just enough to look over my shoulder. The corner of the room was empty, completely empty. No shape, no shadow, nothing out of place. A wave of relief hit me so suddenly it almost made me laugh. My shoulders dropped, and I let out a breath I didn't realize I had been holding. It was nothing, just my mind, just the rain. I turned back toward the window again, almost embarrassed by how tense I had been. And that's when everything fell apart. Because the reflection was still there. The shape hadn't disappeared. If anything, it was clearer now, taller than before, closer. My heart slammed against my chest as I froze again, staring at it. Slowly, painfully slowly, I realized something that made my stomach drop. The reflection wasn't following the room. It wasn't connected to what was behind me. It was connected to the other side of the glass. A sharp, sudden tap hit the window right in front of my face. I flinched back, nearly dropping my phone. And then it happened again. Tap, tap. Not random, not soft anymore. Intentional. I forced myself to look outside. The rain blurred everything, the street lights stretching shadows across the glass. At first I saw nothing, just water running down in thin lines. Then a shape began to form between the streaks. Not a full figure, just enough. A silhouette standing impossibly close to the window. Too close. There was no ledge, no space, nothing for it to stand on. And yet, it was there, watching. I couldn't see its face, but I knew exactly where it was looking. At me. My hand trembled as I raised the phone slightly, the light reflecting against the glass. For a brief second, the reflection and the outside aligned, and I saw it. Not clearly, but enough. A face, pressed just slightly toward the window, not fully visible, but wrong. Everything about it was wrong. My body reacted before my mind could catch up. I pulled back from the window, nearly falling off the bed, my breath uneven, my chest tight. "No," I whispered, shaking my head. "No, no." The tapping stopped completely. The rain continued steady and endless like nothing had happened. I stayed there, frozen, staring at the window from a distance now. Minutes passed, or maybe longer. Nothing moved. Nothing tapped. Eventually, slowly, I convinced myself it was over. That whatever I saw, whatever I thought I saw, was gone. I lay back down, pulling the blanket up, turning my body away from the window completely. I didn't want to see it anymore. I didn't want to think about it. I closed my eyes. The sound of rain filled my ears again, softer now, almost calming, and little by little, my breathing slowed, my body relaxed. Sleep started to come. Right before I drifted off, I heard it, not from the window, not from outside, but from somewhere much closer, right beside my bed. A soft, slow, deliberate sound. Tap. I opened my eyes, but I didn't turn around because this time I already knew where it was.
Maybe tonight you shouldn't look outside. Good night.